Hello, good people of YouTube, Mountbatten here, and I want to take you on a bit of a rabbit hole journey that I've been on for the past hour or so, and it all started with one little post on Reddit. So, I was browsing the World Warships subreddit one day when I came across this picture right here. Now, this looks like a ammunition bar for selecting different types of missiles, and, well, first off, I thought it was just fake and somebody just poking fun because, I mean, all the things that have been happening in games, submarines with guided torpedoes, and things like the CV rework and all. I thought someone would just be like, oh, well, what's next? Missiles. But there's also something at the end that also caught my eye too, and that was smoke planes. Now, in World War II, early World War II at least, planes did deploy smoke screens, and then a second wave would then attack with torpedoes fairly early on in the U.S. Navy during World War II. So that is a thing that happened, and I found it a bit odd that that would be included in the picture if it wasn't some type of data mined or leaked screenshot or something from Wargaming. And I perused the comments on said picture, or the replies, however it works on Reddit. I'm not that big of a Redditor, if you will, but whatever. So anyway, and some people will say that this is actually some data mined stuff from way back in the day when Wargaming was messing around with adding missiles onto higher tier DDs. And at first I was like, well, that sounds completely ridiculous and broken, and I don't even see why Wargaming would mess with that. But then I remember we also have homing torpedoes with submarines, and then I realized, well, yeah, they probably wouldn't mess with that. So anyway, I was sent on a quest by my curiosity to go and see how these missiles worked, or if they were even messed with that much, if Wargaming ever said anything about them. And what I stumbled upon reads like a prophecy, and about half of it has come true. So, this right here, this is a forum post, which is basically just a Q&A that happened, in 2017, so 3 years ago, with, I think, a dev or a producer for World of Warships from a German stream way back in the day. So it's just a little Q&A session from back in the day. And man, wow. It, again, like half of the stuff on here has happened that they say, well, let me just read it, and I'm going to highlight some of the things that they talked about that has either been added or addressed or has happened or hasn't happened. So, off the bat, Italian scheduled for end of next year. Now, this is in 2017, so they were talking about end of 2018, the Italians were supposed to come out. They didn't say Italian cruisers, Italian battleships, Italian destroyers, or whatever, they just said Italians. That didn't happen. That didn't happen till early 2020. So, go down a little bit more. Number 3. So they're asking about Graf Zeppelin. This is around the time that Graf Zeppelin was about to come out, or it was in testing. And it says, a question about Graf Zeppelin, which is no news here. We'll probably get torpedo bombers with deep water torpedoes if they prove suitable. Whoa. Now, that goes back to a picture I saw on Reddit, which again was supposedly some data mined information that had torpedo bombers with deep water torpedoes. And again, I thought people were just making it up, but turns out nope, they really didn't mess with the idea. So a carrier line of the future may get deep water torpedoes. Next bit, IFHE and Smoke Nerf will probably come at the same time. That didn't happen at the same time. The Smoke Nerf happened, and then the IFHE rework / nerf happened this year, not that long ago. Well, actually it was a little while ago now, but it seems like it wasn't that long ago. Oh, this is funny. Roma's model is being worked on back in 2017, and Roma came out, late 2018? I can't exactly remember when. That was like Roma was actually my first ship review, way back in the day. I remember it got 800 views. I'm like, oh my god, that's so many views. And now it's like, not that much, given the channel size now. But I remember how excited I was for the Roma review. Okay, this I just find funny. RPF is still a controversial topic, but it doesn't have too much influence in the game. Competitive might be an exception since it's a must-have skill there for DDs, but we'll see if it proves too detrimental for the game. It'll be removed or changed like IFHE. So, RPF wow, that is such a useless skill now if there's a CV in the game. Because, yeah, it's nice knowing about where your enemy's at. But with CVs now, everything's spotted within the first minute anyway, so it doesn't matter. But in competitive, where there are no carriers, well, if you're in a competitive match with no carriers, it is very, very useful. Right here, Kitakami might come back for events, for example. Regarding PvP, I'd rather not. Well, apparently minds were changed about that because Kitakami is coming back. She's in testing right now. This one, Submarines. We don't see a feasible way to include them in the game. Since they're very, very slow. Well, that didn't stop you. But we are thinking about different possibilities. One of the many ideas we have... one of the main ideas was to have submarine players spawn behind enemy spawn instead of their own team spawn. That way you'd have a similar effect as in PUBG where you have that blue border pushing in. That might be a similar effect. Whether or not that'll work, your guess is as good as mine. That's pre-design / concept. I don't expect them anytime soon. That part is true, again, because this was 3 years ago, and we are just now starting to get widespread testing of submarines, but none of them are spawning behind enemy lines. Funnily enough, we did get the April Fool's event where you could spawn in the enemy spawn, which was absolutely friggin' hilarious and a blast. I got put in the middle of their spawn in a gross occur first, which was like some of the most fun I had in the game in a very long time. So that quote-unquote concept did make it into the game. This one too caught my attention. Convoys are still alive, the concept still lives on, it's just not really necessary for the game as it is right now. It's still on our minds, and maybe we'll find some other application for them. Now, convoys, that's very interesting because like 6 months ago, the devs put out a dev blog post detailing the convoy mode more. And it's like Overwatch where you have to escort the payload from one point to one point, except you have, I think they said 6 surface ships escorting the convoy and then 12 submarines hunting the convoy and surface ships. But the surface ships, I think they had 2 respawns, but the submarine players didn't. So that would be very interesting, a mode where you actually get to respawn in the game. But yeah, it's interesting that they were talking about them way back then, and we're still talking about them, but they're not in the game yet. I would very much like to see a convoy mode put in the game. It would be a nice addition to the game. This one right here. Half the dev team are Navy field veterans. Initially, the CVs had a kind of artillery view, so they played relatively similar to the other ships. And there, the CV concept worked out because of this. I'm assuming this question asked him how CVs became RTS style rather than like all the other surface ships, but it gets more interesting. Balance was fairly okay back then, but we had no really good idea how to rework the CV concept for the new top-down view. We maybe have an idea where you could control your planes in the same way you follow your shells, but here you could actually control the planes, which would enable a sort of skill shot. Well, it's but one idea. So all the way back in 2017, we got indications of what was going to happen to CVs, even before the rework had really kicked off. Because the rework was launched in 8.0, which was about a year ago. So yeah, all the way back in 2017. Again, this Q&A reads like a freaking prophecy. Oh, this one's really interesting too. There'll be alternate trees for Germans, Americans, Japan, and the British at some point in the distant future. That's true. We got the British light and heavy cruiser line, the Japanese torpedo and gunboat line, the American light and heavy cruiser line, now the American battleship line split. Germans haven't gotten a split yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if they do in the future. Oh, this one, I almost forgot to talk about this one. So he thinks there'll be a BB tech tree each year. Evan, I'm assuming that's the dev or whoever they're talking to, makes it clear that for him there should be a European tech tree released each Gamescom. German lines are in the game already. Strong 999 for German CV line. Boy, what did we just get? And here's the big one. New weapon types we tested were missiles. They were really, really great, but not for this game. You'd have followed a single shot and steered it into the target. It was super fun, but it was way too strong. It's just not a feature that's suitable for this game. We also tried an unguided variant, but that was just boring. It was like normal shooting, but slower with more damage. So, missiles. Ah, God. You know, they said in this Q&A that it's not for the game, but they also said they couldn't see how they would implement submarines into the game. They also said that they weren't going to put in a German CV line. Now, granted, this is just one dev saying all of this, but most of the stuff that he's talked about has happened. Now, God, missiles. According to the post and some other Googling that I've done, there was initially an idea for like the tier 10 Pan-Asian DD to have it, and then the tier 10 Pan-Euro DDs way back in the day, they would toss around the ideas of giving them missiles, and supposedly a Soviet DD split where the tier 9 and tier 10 had missiles. But thankfully, so far, it looks like they've realized that that would be terrible for the game, and it would, in my opinion at least, because this game's supposed to focus around artillery ships mostly, but we also do have things like carriers and now submarines. So honestly, guys, it would not surprise me that within a year or two they start testing missiles again, and they very well may be doing that right now, but just keeping it under wraps, because obviously adding in submarines is already ticking off a lot of people. And I mean, anything that they do, half the people are going to love it, half the people are going to hate it. So I'm sure there are some people that would like to have missiles in the game. I wouldn't be one of those people. I would not want that, because good God, homing torpedoes are one thing, but missiles which travel much faster than torpedoes that you can't dodge, that you won't really be able to angle against because they're guided. Yeah, I think that would be terrible, but I do honestly think that they are coming. It would not shock me if within a year or within 6 months they announce that they're testing them again. But apparently they have been messing with them since 2017, so who knows. But just given the way that everything else in this little Q&A session has gone, it wouldn't surprise me. So that's most of the major points in the Q&A. I just thought it would be interesting to go back and look at an old dev interview and see exactly what has or hasn't transpired, especially once I got on that little missile rabbit hole. And it's really interesting, guys. I mean, they said there aren't going to be German CVs. German CVs just got released. Submarines aren't feasible, but submarines are in widespread testing. Kitakami can't work in PvP, and now Kitakami is out in Super Tester's hands, and it's looking like it's going to be a tier 10 reward ship now. And I mean, just after reading all that, hearing, yeah, missiles aren't right for the game, but then seeing the pattern of pretty much everything that was said in this Q&A has come to pass, I do think they will eventually make it into the game, be it anti-submarine missiles or be it anti-ship missiles. But I just do hope that it takes them an eternity to do it, or somewhere along the way they just become, you know, just like ASW missiles rather than anti-ship missiles. But it would not surprise me, guys, if they do eventually add in ship-to-ship missiles, be it at something like tier 11 or some crazy tier 10 ships. But honestly, with the way everything's gone recently, it would not surprise me. But I do also believe that if they are going to add these in, it's going to be a while, because right now they're focusing mainly on the submarines, and those things are going to take, shoot, I think, you know, we may get the first lines like early 2021, maybe, if they really push them out, and then they're going to have to balance them. That's going to take half the year, just like with the CVs, and they're still balancing a lot of the issues with the CVs right now, so you can imagine how long it's going to take them to get those submarines down pat. So could missiles be the next big thing? Probably. Are they a very long way away? More than likely so. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. We are on our way to 20,000 subs, and we just passed 16,000 yesterday. That is incredibly awesome, guys, and I cannot thank you guys enough for that. The giveaway announcement, the winner should have been picked today. Depending upon when they reply is when I will announce who won. Hopefully by tomorrow they should get back to me, and I'll let you guys know who won the giveaway then. You know, guys, hope you're having a great day, and hope to catch you guys in the next one.